my god. Unbelievable.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Wezdeberidze YouTube channel, and today we are going to study step sequences. We are going to study rules and we'll watch a few samples. Let's open the ISU rules. Step sequences. General. All step sequences should be executed according to the character of the music. Short stops in accordance with the music are permitted. Step sequences must fully utilize the ice surface. As Mr. Lakernik used to say, only the Zamboni machine can utilize the full ice surface. But let's say the following. The step sequence must utilize as much ice surface as possible. The more you utilize, the better. Turns and steps must be balanced in their distribution throughout the sequence. Short program. Short program for senior and junior men and for senior and junior women must include one step sequence fully utilizing the ice surface. Unlisted jumps in any number of revolutions, as well as listed jumps with maximal 1 revolution, we mean axel, toe, sail, loop, flip and lutz, may be included in the step sequence without any penalties. Listed jumps of not more than 1 revolution included in the sequence will not be called and will not occupy a box. As for the well-balanced senior free skating program, it must contain one step sequence fully utilizing the ice surface. A step sequence is not included in junior free skating. Any unlisted jumps of any number of revolutions and listed jumps with maximum 1 revolution can be included in the step sequence without any penalties. Listed jumps of not more than 1 revolution included in the sequence will not be called and will not occupy a box. Listed jumps with more than 1 revolution can also be included in the step sequence, but they will be called and occupy a box. The step sequence must fully utilize their surface. Step sequences which are too short or barely visible cannot be considered as meeting the requirements of a step sequence. Level features. Elements in the single skating have 5 different levels. Basic, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to get a level 4, you need to have 4 level features. If you have 3 features, then you will get a maximum level 3. But there are some particularities. So feature number 1, minimum variety for level 1, simple variety for level 2, variety for level 3, and complexity for level 4 of difficult turns and steps throughout. This feature is compulsory. So now let's not have a look at bullets number 2, 3 and 4. If the step sequence has no minimum variety which is required for level 1, this step sequence will get a maximum level basic. Of course, if your step sequence utilizes the full ice surface. So first of all, we have a look at feature number 1 and determine what we have: minimum variety, simple variety, variety or complexity. And in such a way, we determine the maximum possible level that your step sequence can obtain. After that, we can move on. Feature number 2, rotations in either direction, left and right, with full body rotation covering at least 1/3 of the pattern in total for each rotational direction. Feature number 3, use of body movements for at least 1/3 of the pattern. And finally, feature number 4, 2 combinations of 3 difficult turns on different feet executed with continuous flow within the sequence. Only 1 difficult turn may be repeated in 2 combinations. Only the first combination attempted on each foot can be counted. Clarifications. Pattern. There is no longer a required pattern for the step sequence, but it must fully utilize their surface. It must be visible and identifiable, and should be performed by using the full ice surface. For example, straight line, serpentine, circle, oval or similar shape. If you fail to achieve the above description, it will result in no value of the sequence. In features 2 and 3, the pattern means the pattern executed actually by the skater. The beginning and end of the pattern, it's when a skater actually starts and concludes the sequence. What is a turn and step? In figure skating, in single skating, we have the following turns: twizzles, brackets, loops, counters, rockers, and 3 turns. And steps, these are toe steps, chassé, mohawks, chucktails, change of edge, and cross rolls. Please take into consideration that change of edge is a step. Difficult turns and steps are: in singles and pair skating, we have 6 turns and steps: twizzles, brackets, loops, counters, rockers, and chucktails. Turns and steps must be executed on clean edges. If a turn is jumped, it is not counted as correctly performed. Minimum variety. It must include at least 5 difficult turns and steps. None of the types can be counted more than twice. For example, a skater does 2 rockers, 2 chucktails, and 1 loop in his step sequence, so he gets minimum variety. But if a skater does 3 counters and 2 rockers, we cannot take them 3 and 2. We will take 2 counters and 2 rockers. And for turns and steps, it's not counted as minimum variety because it is less than 5. Simple variety must include at least 7 difficult turns and steps. None of the types can be counted more than twice. Variety includes at least 9 difficult turns and steps. None of the types can be counted more than twice. Finally, complexity. It's at least 11 difficult turns and steps. So you have 6 types of turns, we multiply them by 2 and we get 12. So complexity, at least 11 turns and steps. You can fail to do 1 turn or step, but none of the types of turns can be counted more than twice, and 5 types of them must be executed in both directions. The direction means body rotation to the left or to the right during the turn. So we just look to which directions the turn and step go. These turns and steps can be executed on the same level, but we just look at the rotation direction. That's the most important. Right shoulder or left shoulder. If a skater doesn't perform a minimum variety, the level cannot be higher than basic. If a skater performs only minimum variety, 5 or 6 steps and turns, the level cannot be higher than 1. It may be level 1, basic or no level. If a skater performs only 1 simple variety, 7 or 8 of them, the level cannot be higher than 2. It may be any level 2, level 1, basic or no value. Finally, if a skater performs only variety, not complexity, the level cannot be higher than level 3. It can be level 3 or any less. Distribution of turns and steps. So they must be distributed throughout the sequence. There should be no long sections without turns or steps. If this requirement is not fulfilled, the level cannot be higher than basic. So even if you have everything for level 4, but you have no distribution throughout the sequence, you will get just level basic. And if you have no pattern, then you will get a no value. Last year it was added that skaters are allowed to include free skating movements like spread eagles and spirals inside the step sequence without affecting the even distribution of the turns and steps. Rotations in either direction, it's one of the level features. This means that the skater rotates with any listed or unlisted turns and steps continuously in one direction for at least 1/3 of the sequence, and then continuously for at least 1/3 of the sequence in the opposite direction, clockwise or anti-clockwise. or over the length of the step sequence, he is rotating with any listed and unlisted steps and turns for at least 1/3 of this sequence in total. So we divide the pattern into 3 parts. The skater turns in one direction for 1/3 of the sequence, rotates into the opposite direction for again 1/3 of the sequence, and in the third part, the skater can turn left and right all the time. Then this feature will also be obtained. Full body rotation means one complete rotation, 360 degrees. If it's less one complete rotation, then it's not a full body rotation. The skater should not just turn half a revolution back and forth. Use of body movements means the visible use of a combined total of at least 1/3 of the pattern of the step sequence, any movements of the arms and or head and or torso and or hips and or legs that have an effect on the balance of the main body core. So you don't do just any movement of your hand, you need to do it so that you have an effect on the balance of the body. Let's have a look at Yuzuru Hanyu. Head, head, body, twizzle with use of head. Hand moves in the step combination, slide not affecting the distribution, unlisted jump, move of the free leg, loop with his head, bracket with head used entry, step combination with use of body and hands. What do we have here? Loop with body, body again, slide with head, step combo with body move and head. It's quite difficult. Twizzles with head and hands. Again a little of body movements. Bracket with use of body at entry, and again his head moves. 2 combinations of 3 difficult turns on different feet, so-called clusters. They can consist of rockers, counters, brackets, twizzles and loops. They cannot consist of choctaws, because choctaw it is a step. Only one difficult turn can be repeated once in 2 combinations. The repeated turn can be executed in the same combination. For example, first combination rocker, counter and rocker, and the second combination bracket, twizzle and loop. So it can be repeated in both combinations. For example, bracket, counter, loop and rocker, counter, twizzle. In the combinations, 3 turns, change of edges, a jump, a hop or change of feet is not allowed. The exit edge of a turn is the entry edge of the next turn. The free foot must not touch the ice, and combination must be executed with continuous flow within the sequence. Only the first combination attempted on each foot can be counted. There is no maximum number of turns, but there must be 3 consecutive and correct difficult turns successfully performed. For example, rocker, bracket, counter and rocker, counter, twizzle, loop. In the second combination, the 3 consecutive turns will be number 2, 3 and 4, and they will be counted as a combination. Let's watch again the step sequence of Kevin Amos. Bracket, counter, loop. Unfortunately, we cannot see it clearly on the screen. So let's find the second combination. Rocker, counter, twizzle. It's a combination of the second foot on the right leg. The first combination was performed on the left leg. Jumps with 1 or less than 1 revolution executed in the step sequence. In both programs, unlisted jumps in any number of revolutions and listed jumps with maximum 1 revolution may be included in the sequence without penalties. Listed jumps of not more than 1 revolution are not called and do not occupy a box. If you have jumps in more than one revolution, then in short program they will be ignored as an element, but the judges will reduce the GOE by 1 grade for listed jumps of more than one revolution included. And in the free skating program will be called and will occupy a jumping box. In any case, the jumps included will not influence the determination of the level of difficulty of the step sequence. That's it. The theory of step sequences is over, but we can open the end of the document and find a table, elements with no value or maximum level in both programs. All elements with levels, so these are not jumping or choreographic elements. If you have a wrong element in both programs, you will get a no value. If you do an illegal element or movement, and if you meet the basic level requirements, you will get a maximum level basic and the deduction for illegal elements or movements. For example, you do a step sequence and you include a backflip. The backflip is considered to be an illegal element, so you will get a level basic and a 2-point deduction from the technical panel for the illegal element included. If the skater doesn't fully utilize the ice surface, it's a no value in both short and free skating program. In case of no minimum variety of difficult steps and turns, maximum level basic. Only minimum variety, maximum level 1, so on and so forth, if there is no balance of steps and turns in their distribution through the sequence, maximum level basic. In both programs. Let's open again the level features. Let's have a look at some step sequence. We are going to discuss every level feature from the list. We will try to determine the level of the sequence. So let's take a video and watch the sequence 5 times. While watching it for the first time, we will check whether the skater fully utilizes the ice surface. When watching for a second time, we will count the number of difficult turns and steps and determine what we have minimum variety or maybe complexity. Review number 3, rotations in either directions. Then use of body movements, finally 2 combinations of 3 difficult turns. So let's have a look at the Nathan Chan's short program step sequence. So he starts his step sequence, so he's in the center now. It looks like a circle. Now he is back where he started the sequence. He crosses the middle line. Now it looks like an S pattern. Tackle with Stoico at 2002 Olympics. I think the step sequence fully utilizes the ice surface, and this step sequence will get some level. Now let's count the difficult turns and steps and determine which maximum level the step sequence may get. Loop to the right, loop to the left, loops out, rocker, counter, twizzle left, choctaw to the right, bracket right, bracket left, choctaw left, twizzle, rocker counter to the right. So, twizzles left and right, both done, brackets left and right, loops done, counters done, rockers done, and choctaws done. Let's count again. Loop, loop to the right and to the left, rocker, counter, and twizzle to the left, choctaw to the right, bracket to the right, bracket to the left, choctaw to the left, twizzle right, rocker counter to the right, both of them. 6 to the left and 6 to the right. Overall, we have 12 difficult turns and steps. Each of the types performed twice in both directions. So feature number 1 is done, so its complexity with the maximum level 4.
Такая же особенность в дорожках шагов у Ханью. У менее высококлассных фигуристов около 17-18 сложных поворотов и шагов. То есть каких-то типов у них 2, каких-то 3, что-то изредка бывает и 4. Соответственно, если мы где-то не взяли крюк, например, в начале, мы его можем взять в конце. Так, с чертой номер 1 мы разобрались. У нас complexity и максимальный уровень будет 4. Смотрим на повороты.
Let's have a look at rotations in both directions.
Через лево,
Left, left again,
право,
right, right again,
лево,
left,
опять лево,
left,
лево,
left,
лево,
left,
право,
right,
опять лево,
left again,
опять лево,
left,
ничего,
nothing,
пошел, вот он, право,
right,
половинка,
half to the left, again left half rotation, so one full,
и право.
and again right, right. Rotations in either direction executed. Use of body movements for at least 1/3 of the pattern. While Nathan is going to perform his jump combination, we need to say that this is a very difficult feature and it's often discussed. So it was a body move, loop with hands and head and body, cluster with hands, influences the body,
Влияет на баланс. Движение
free leg,
опять с работой
head,
головы, корпус, руки,
body, hands with head,
руки.
hands.
Лично мое
In my opinion, there is the use of body movements here, and they influence the body. Some may argue with that. Some can say that the number of movements is not sufficient. Some people may even say that there is nothing difficult here. Everyone has his own point of view, and the two combinations of 3 difficult turns and steps, clusters. Left rocker counter and twizzle, right leg, twizzle, rocker counter. As we can repeat only one difficult turn, Nathan repeats them 3. Rocker counter twizzle and rocker counter twizzle. That's why this feature is not executed. So let's count. The compulsory feature, complexity, maximum level 4, rotations in both directions done, body done, clusters no. So, step sequence level 3. That was the 2022-23 season short program, when this feature was not that difficult as now. Skaters could repeat any difficult turns in their combinations. Now let's take the recent season step sequence. So let's have a look at the pattern. He started in the left, blue line number 1, crossed the center line, crossed the middle line, second blue line, moves to another side of the ring. It's like a mix of straight line and circular type pattern. The step sequence will get a level because there is a pattern and it's visible. I hope that any of us as me noticed that while checking the step sequence for a pattern, we noticed the body movements as well. They were very noticeable. There have been as many body movements and all of them have been so visible that we look at one thing but we still notice it. So when you judge and look at legs, but notice the body movements, that means that you have this use of body movements level feature. So that's good. Now let's count the number of difficult turns and steps in this sequence. Up to this nothing, but still there are some turns and steps. Чоктау right, bracket right. Rocker counter loop to the right. Чоктау to the left, bracket counter twizzle to the left. Twizzle to the right. Loop to the left. So what do we have? 11 different turns and steps, 2 choktaus, 2 brackets, 2 counters, 2 loops, 2 twizzles and 1 rocker. So 11 turns and steps. Rocker is not executed in the other direction, but we have 5 other types executed in both directions. So it's the minimum required number of difficult turns and steps for the complexity feature. Rotations in either directions. Left, right, left, right, 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 left, 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 right, right, left, 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 left. Done. As for the body movements, there is as much of it as possible, so there is no doubt the skater gets this feature. 2 clusters, rocker counter loop on the right leg, and now bracket counter twizzle on the left leg. Counters repeated, clusters done. So we have all the 4 required features. Feature number 1, its complexity, with maximum level 4, with 3 other features. Step sequence level 4. It's not the easiest thing to judge step sequences for a technical panel. The technical panel usually divides the duties. The technical specialist usually counts the number of difficult turns and steps. The second technical specialist, if agreed with the first one, check the 2 combinations and the rotations in either directions, while the technical controller checks the body movements. At low-class competitions, where there is usually 1 technical specialist and 1 technical controller, the technical specialist counts everything by himself. But at these competitions, almost no one has the use of body movements. Rotations in either directions can be easily checked. You can understand that the skater turns always to one direction, even when you just count the number of turns. So you feel it and you understand that this feature is not present. Finally, when you count the number of difficult turns and steps, you can still see both combinations of 3 difficult turns. I'm going to answer right now to 2 most popular questions about difficult turns in both directions. You need to do 5 types of turns and steps executed in both directions. It's only for complexity, only for level 4. If you do 2 same twizzles, 2 same rockers, so if you have the difficult turns and steps executed only in one direction, all 12, none of them more than twice, you will not get complexity, but you will have variety. Your maximum level will be not higher than 3. For levels 3, 2, 1 and base, you can do any turns you want. You can repeat them on one leg, you can repeat them on the same leg, in the same direction. As for rotations in either directions, you can add simple turns and steps in the other direction, like toe steps, 3 turns, 2 foot rotations, so on and so forth. The technical panel studies the features separately. Here you get your variety. That's it. We forget it. One more thing. You have 6 turns in the 2 combinations on different feet. So these turns are also counted for feature number 1. When you count the feature number 1, you count absolutely all turns and steps executed in the sequence. and the technical panel in this feature doesn't care at all where were these steps and turns executed, solo or in combinations. For example, you have done rocker counter twizzle. As a combinations, you have these 3 turns in feature number 1, 2. Then the panel will look 2 combinations separately, cluster number 1, cluster number 2, and after that they will discuss either yes or no. Please don't think that you need to show 12 turns and steps for feature number 1 and then again 6 turns more in the 2 combinations. We have just studied 2 step sequences. You could have seen that for feature number 1 we look at 100% of the difficult turns and steps executed in the step sequence. And then, as for clusters, we find just the clusters themselves and we evaluate them separately. It is a different level feature. Finally, if you want to do some exercises and to be better at evaluating step sequences, welcome to our channel. You will be able to find different quizzes, jumps, spins, step sequences, choreo sequences, and generals. Thank you very much for having watched our video. Waiting for you again. See you.
Всем спасибо, всем пока.